Hey everybody. I know it's been a bit since I've posted a video, but you know how life's been the last 6 months, so what I'm going to be doing today is not a new technique or anything like that. It's just another style of mica hatching, which I've shown before in different groups and things like that. So basically, these are what we're going to be doing, this style. And as with everything that I show, there are no rules. You can do it however it feels right to you. And I will list all the supplies and colors that I used in the comments. And make sure that before you use epoxy, you do your research on it, do research on PPE, and decide the best way to protect yourself. I already have all of the colors mixed up. I let my girls choose the color scheme that we're going with today, and they chose oranges, which with Halloween coming up is probably kind of perfect. And so they also chose a black base. So we're gonna get started on that. This is a large wine tumbler from Craft Haven. Craft Haven is amazing. Excellent customer service. Small business. So you do not want a really thick base. I will probably end up using around 12 milliliters of this epoxy, of the black epoxy. I used a black mica to color my epoxy. You can use, excuse me, you can use epoxy dye. If that's your preference. But you don't want it super thick again, because with this technique you don't want a lot of movement. So we won't be using any heat on it either. So I'm just getting it nice and evenly spread out. Making sure I've got all parts completely covered. And as always, don't forget the bottom. All right. So yes, I would say right at about 10 to 12 milliliters of epoxy is what I used to cover this. Now what I'll be using to place the colors is this tool. It's a silicone brush, has a dotting tool on the other end. I got a whole set on Amazon. So I think it was like 6 different ones. So what I'll do now is I typically start with the darkest color and then work my way up. The nice thing about this is while you're doing it, if you feel like a color is disappearing too much, you can always go back and put more of that color on. You only need, I mixed up a little too much epoxy for this, but you only need about 1 to 2 milliliters of each color, because it's going to look like I'm putting more on than I am. But I'm really not putting very much on. So basically you just start drawing it on and spreading it out. And you don't have to go diagonal with it. You can do straight lines. You can do horizontal lines. Whatever you want to do. There's no rules. And for those that know me, they know that I like designs that are out of my control, what they do when I'm done. So I think that's one of the reasons I like these, is I can put it on there where I want to, but there's no guarantee it's going to stay. So just keep using a color until you're happy with where you're at with it. And then you can switch to the next color. I'm pretty sure I'll be using almost all of the oranges that Woody's Goodies carries. So and you can get close to each color. You can go over each color just a little bit, because then you get that really cool swirling depth and layering to the different colors. Letting mica do what it does best. Micas play together very, very well. As you'll notice, I did this on a stainless base. I did sand the cup. I just did not paint it. That is personal preference when I do this style. I personally like just doing it on stainless. But you can absolutely base paint it. And if you don't have something that you can color your epoxy with for black, if you want to do a black base, then you can always just base paint your cup black and use clear epoxy for your base. You won't get the same blending of the black into the colors, but you'll still get basically the same look. So just keep going in with the colors. My micas are all from Woody's Goodies. I have a couple of glitters I'll be using from Mr. Nola's glitter. For epoxy, I use KS Resin Art Ultra UV. And actually, if you go over to Woody's Goodies Facebook group, there is a fun challenge going on in there right now called Smash the Box Challenge. And it's basically just a challenge to break out of the color coordination box and use colors that you don't necessarily think would go together, or colors you don't like, and see what happens. For one of mine, I had my kids pick out, they each picked out 4 colors, and they didn't get to see what colors the other their siblings were choosing. And then I came down and made a cup with all their colors. It was a lot of fun. So I would recommend that. It helped get me out of my creative funk I've been in for quite a while. So just something to have fun with. And so as you can see, you just keep layering it. Getting all these gorgeous colors to have fun together. The fun thing with micas too is micas can be used in so many ways. They're not just for cups. You can make makeup, you can make your own eyeshadows, you can use it in lip balm, you can use it in soap. There's so many different ways that you can use it. So it's not a one-stop thing. You can use it for whatever. I mean, you can even just buy the loose colors and use it as loose eyeshadow without doing anything else to it. That's actually last year what we did for my kids with their Halloween costumes. We used different micas for their makeup. My oldest daughter was 11 from Stranger Things, you know, so we had to get the blue eyeshadow going. So there's never just one thing that you can do with stuff. And don't tell me you're not creative. Everybody is. They just have to try. And they have to remember that things are rarely perfect in the art world. So nobody's going to judge you. And if they do, well, that says more about them than you. So this one that I'm putting on right now is a glow, which I'm excited about. Get a little surprise fun going on this one. It's always fun to surprise people. I apologize if you can hear my kids in the background. Usually I would do this while they were at school, but I've had a lot of questions about this technique, so I wanted to get it out there so you guys can give it a try. So when I mix up too much epoxy, which I always do with this style of cup, basically what I do is just have a mold handy, and then I fill a mold with everything I didn't use. So that is what I will do with all of the leftover epoxy. So it doesn't get wasted. Because epoxy is not cheap, so you definitely don't want to waste it. And always remember the bottom. I keep doing some little swipes on the bottom. Can't forget that booty. And I don't take custom orders anymore for cups, but I am going to work on getting a little Etsy shop set up just to sell different cups that I make and the cups that I do in the tutorials and things like that. So keep an eye out for that if you're interested in purchasing. Just because I don't take custom orders, so. We're getting close, getting close. Just a few more colors. I am loving this. I like orange. Some shades of orange. I guess I should be fair and say that. I really like some shades of orange. So when my girls picked orange, I was kind of like, okay, I don't know about that, but I think they were onto something. It's also chore time. We struggle with that a little bit here in our house. But we'll get there. We'll get there. All right. Getting closer, getting closer. Okay, so now I'm moving on to the flakes and the glitter. And I kind of just try to accent those in. Ooh, that was kind of a little bigger than I meant. because my intention for the flakes and the glitters is to be more of just a fun surprise in there than overtaking. And I do wipe off my brush after each color. I'm just doing it off screen because my towel sits over on the side, so. All right, 2 more. Last glitter. And as you can see, as I've been working on it, you can see where the colors are mixing in with each other and making just really awesome depth and layers. All right. And now for the last color, I did throw in a little something different. This is just a new Aurora that I just got from Woody's Goodies, and I've been dying to try it. So I am going to throw in a little bit of this holographic silver Aurora. Just as an accent. Oh my gosh, it's so gorgeous. It's a linear or holographic laser silver, and it is just gorgeous. I typically use new colors during lives, usually in the Woody's Goodies group on Facebook, and so my reactions can get kind of funny and sometimes a little graphic, actually, when I use a new color. So I'm taming it down just a bit for you guys, but this color is amazing. And it's exactly what I wanted to do, just a teeny touch of an accent on there. I love it. All right, that's all the colors. And so now what I do, because you don't want to use heat on this unless you do want it to start moving and swirling and all of that, just depends on the look you're going for. So when you use these tools, it will make bubbles in the epoxy. So I just go through, and when I see them, I blow on them, because your breath is warm enough that it will pop the bubbles. So that's what I do. I'm actually pretty excited about this cup. I love how it turned out. So, a few little tips. You can wait a little while and let the epoxy thicken up just a little bit before you start doing all the colors. That will help slow movement. I typically, by the time I get it mixed up and get so many colors all mixed into the epoxy, it typically does fine for me. And it's totally personal preference. So you can do it however you want. And if you want it to swirl around more, then by all means use heat and see what happens. That's the most fun part, is seeing what happens. You can also come back after about 15 to 20 minutes. And if you see spots where it's moving too much for your liking, you just pull your brush back through it and just kind of straighten out those swirling parts. Because some spots on the cup will get more epoxy on them than others, and so you will have spots that start to run a little bit. And you can go with it, or you can straighten it back out, whatever you want to do. So this is it. This is what we end up with when you hatch or draw on the micas. It's just a bunch of layery, depth-rich awesomeness. So have fun. That's me. That's my rule. Have fun. Be creative. And even if you come up with something that you think is ugly or you don't like, I guarantee you there will be tons of people that think it's gorgeous. Because all of us have different tastes. This would be a boring, boring, boring world if we just all thought that the exact same things were pretty or creative. So enjoy the differentness of your brain and have fun. Bye, guys.